welcome back. So today I want to talk to you about habits. You know, those good old habits that we have, good, bad, all the things. So I actually thought of this for today's episode when I was doing my own morning routine that I have now been doing honestly for years, and I've tweaked it a little bit over the years, but it has become such a habit for me that if I don't do it, I actually feel really off because I've built it into a habit. I've kind of built the muscle of doing this. And I love talking about habits because those are literally the building blocks to your success. Habits are the building blocks to your success, to your goals. And so many people focus so much on the goal that they want. They focus on this thing that's so far off. And sometimes it can feel so big and can feel so far off and so far away and out of reach that they can either get down on themselves, beat themselves up, or if you're not reaching it as quick as you wanted to reach it, you might even give up on it because you're focused on going from here to here and not on all of these things that build into that success. And I always remember this image that I saw once. You might have seen something like this before too, but it was like this cartoon, this drawing of two people sort of digging with this like pickaxe. They were digging this tunnel for this treasure. So you could see they were both digging, and then there's like this treasure at the end. And one in this image literally gave up right before they reached the treasure. Like they had like that much dirt to get through. And you could see the other one had just like a few more swings or digging left and reached it. And I always think about that because you're probably so much closer to the goal than you realize, but it feels so far off for you. And a lot of people often give up before they give themselves the opportunity to reach it, before they give themselves the chance to feel what it feels like to reach that goal. And you can't reach your big goals, those big dreams that you want, without working on your habits, right? You can't reach those things without working on the building blocks that gets you to that goal. And you might reach some level of success. You might reach maybe one of the goals through hustle and grind, but that's going to create a lot of stress and burnout, and it's not going to be sustainable for you to stay there. And I see that a lot with my high performers, high achievers that I work with, is they have this maybe outward success that they have reached, but they might feel really misaligned. They might feel really burnt out because they haven't created those sustainable habits to keep up with that. They were just doing it on force and grind. The habits are the systems. Like those are the building blocks to success. And there are a few books that I love that talk about habits. If you're watching this on video, you can probably see them here on my screen. But some of the books that I absolutely love that talk about habits is The Power of Habit. It's kind of like the OG. We've got High Performance Habits, and then we have Atomic Habits, which is the most recent one that I have read. And I love all of these. Like I think they all have a ton of value. They all really kind of feed off of each other in the research. The most recent one that I read is this Atomic Habits. And so that one really stands out to me the most. But the way that so this is by James Clear, the way that he explained, it was just sort of this new way of thinking of habits for me. There's a couple of things that he said in the way that he said it in here that just made it stand out. And I actually recommend this book to a lot of my coaching clients when they're trying to work on their habits in their life and in their business as well. And I love how he talks about, instead of focusing so much on the goal, focus on the systems. So he talks about how, the goals, those are really about the results that you want. Like that is the result that you want to achieve. But the systems are the processes that are going to lead you to those results. So the goals are the results that you want. The systems that you put in place are the processes to actually lead you to those results. And that made so much sense to me because, again, myself personally, but also when I'm working with clients, I would see that these high achievers or these high performers, they're successful. And yet oftentimes when they set this goal, it could feel so far off. and maybe feel like they didn't have the path to fully achieving it. And, a lot of people, and he talks about this in the book, a lot of people have the same goal, right? They want to make a certain amount of money, or they want to reach a certain level of success or certain title in their career. They want to feel maybe physically fit, whatever. A lot of people, and you probably have a lot of similar goals in your life that other people have. And yet, why do some people achieve them and others don't? I think it's a few factors. I think mental fitness is a big one. So I talk about mindset a lot, and we'll have episodes talking more about mental fitness, but mental fitness being a big one, which is your ability to respond to life's challenges with a positive rather than a negative mindset. So I think that's a big one. But then also related to habits, I think it's your systems. It's the habits that you've created that lead you to your goal. That is what sets people apart, the ones that just keep wanting that goal and the ones that are actually achieving it. And if you look at all the people that you admire in your space or podcasts you listen to or thought leaders, they have worked on their discipline and their habits. And, he talks about in Atomic Habits that if you're having trouble changing your habits, it's not just you. You're not just the problem. We're so quick to beat ourselves up. We think we're lazy. We think, oh, I'm just not motivated enough as this other person. We compare ourselves to other people and wonder, well, why can they do it? Why can they have such, success in their business? Why can they have, how are they so disciplined to or motivated to get to the gym? Why have they achieved this level of success in their career? And we beat ourselves up. And all of that is just low levels of energy. That's low energy thinking. And it really doesn't get you anywhere. Right? If you're constantly comparing or beating yourself up, it just immobilizes you. And the thing is you have it all within you. It's just trying to find a different way to do it. The systems that you have right now aren't working for you. And, I've heard this said before, what he talks about in the book too, is you do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. So it's not that you're not capable of achieving those things that you really want. It's that you just need to sit down and really examine what are those systems, what are those habits you've created, and are they serving you in where you want to go or not? And all of those little tiny things are the things that add up to the big changes and to the big results over time. And when you do them often enough, then it's not about motivation, because we are not motivated 100% of the time. You don't always want to do the cold plunge. I say this because I just started doing cold plunging at home and I'm very new to it, but you're not always motivated to want to do the cold plunge or to eat that salad or to do that early morning workout, to pick up that phone to call another prospect or pitch your ideas. But people who do it consistently, they have the discipline. It's become part of who they are, not just what they do. It's become part of their identity. So for me, I think when I started getting up early to work out for years, it's probably been about 6 years that I've been waking up early to work out. Now, I do sleep in sometimes. I kind of give myself that break. But in general, I'm waking up early to work out. And I've changed a few things around that goes with the workout or other things that I've added in. But that's always been part of it, is that early morning workout. So it is now part of my identity. It's not just something that I do. It's literally who I am. I identify myself as a person who values health and wellness, who wakes up early and works out. And when I travel, I wake up early and I work out. When we go camping, I get up early, I sneak out of the camper, and I am out doing that workout outside the camper on a yoga mat. It is part of my identity of who I am, so I don't think about it or need to motivate myself to do it. I just do it. And so if you really want to change who you are, it starts with changing that identity of, if you want to be that quote unquote fit person or to be that top level executive, to be that successful entrepreneur, it has to start with what you're doing to become that person. And you have to decide what type of person is it that you want to be, and then create those systems that will get you there. And yes, I think we can look at, we can read the books and we can look at other people for examples of what we want to be, but it has to start with you first getting clear on who you are, who you want to be, and then help you to create and see what systems are going to work for you. I think sometimes we get overwhelmed with the noise too, like, okay, well, if this person does it, that's what I want to do. Yes, we can use all of that as information. We always have to kind of come back to ourselves and go, what's going to work for me and my life and my situation and where I'm at. So habits are behaviors that are repeated enough to really become automatic, right? You just do them. So like brushing your teeth, hopefully you do that. Brushing your teeth, that's a habit. And so if you want to start a new habit, there's a lot of different tricks that you can do, like habit stacking. You might have heard of this, where you stack a new habit with one that you already have existing. So for example, a common one that I've heard or used is if you wanted to start drinking more water, you might put a glass of water next to your toothbrush so that you are doing that when you brush your teeth. You already brush your teeth, so that's kind of that cue, that kind of trigger for you, and you're putting the new thing next to it, like drinking the water. So the research from Charles in this Power of Habit, he talks about this 4-step pattern, which is cue, craving, response, and reward. And I'm not going to dive into all of that on this episode. If you're interested in this, I would definitely encourage you to check out the books and to learn more and understand it more, because it's easier to actually implement when you understand it more. But for me, just the idea of understanding that cue part as well. So my morning routine has, as I said, largely stayed the same, and then I've added a few things over time. But for me, the cue is like the alarm goes off, I wake up, right? So my morning routine right now looks like I wake up, I drink some water, I take some supplements. So I'm on different supplements right now for healing my Lyme's disease and mold toxicity I have going on. Sometimes I put on my under eye gels for my sleepy eyes. And then I sit down to journal and I do gratitude. I write 5 things I'm grateful for. I write 10 dreams as if they've already happened. So these are like vision setting for me. I might look at the calendar and see what's coming up. And then I go down and do my workout, I shower, and I get ready. So that is just part of your routine, my routine now. And I just do it. I don't have to motivate myself really. It just, the alarm goes off and that's what I do. And here's the thing is you can have good or bad habits. So you might have created a bad habit right now. For me, I'll use myself as an example. I did have a bad habit for a while, my nighttime routine. While I feel like I love my morning routine, I've struggled a bit with the nighttime. So for a while, I'd get my son to bed, and then I would turn on the TV, I'd watch TV, I'd grab a snack, and then I would stay up too late watching TV. And so for me, it actually started to become a bad habit that I didn't like, because I was staying up too late and I didn't want to be late night snacking. But it was like we put him to bed, the cue was putting him to bed, and I would come down. So what I needed to do is I needed to change my response to that cue. And so I started doing things like, okay, now I'm going to come down, I'm going to have some tea, I'm going to read a book or sit in the sauna, because I know that would be better for me the next day. But I had to do it and kind of build up that muscle to create that new habit. So I want you to think about, maybe it's, in your work or in your business, you've created some bad habits that when something goes wrong, something is stressful, you grab a snack, or you shut down, or you get overwhelmed, or you kind of cash it in for the day. And how is that getting you to your goals? If that's become a habit for you, if you're consistently doing that, you're not going to reach your goals. So instead, something like this, when you get a no for something, for an idea you pitched or for business opportunity, what if instead every time you got a no, you sent out another pitch, or you reached out again? Or maybe it was, okay, every time I get, overwhelmed, I'm going to take a walk, or I'm going to take some deep breaths, right? Because you can't just expect the results to change if you aren't changing your response to that cue, to that thing that's happening to you, right? You just need to say, okay, when this thing happens, I'm now going to do this, right? And having that awareness when I get triggered by, somebody telling me no in business, I am now going to do this, and create sort of that new habit for yourself. And, one of the things that I feel like stood out to me the most especially from Atomic Habits, is he talked about, if you have this goal, instead of just focusing so much on that goal, focus on what would it take to be the person that got that goal. So I think of the example of, if, you want to start drinking more water and you're like, okay, I'm going to drink 70 ounces of water. That's my goal for the day. Instead of just saying, okay, I'm going to drink 70 ounces of water. I'm going to drink 70 ounces of water. What if instead you changed it and you said, what would somebody who drinks 70 ounces of water be doing right now? It's like, oh, they'd probably be taking a sip of water, right? Or what would somebody who feels really healthy in their body be doing right now? Oh, They'd probably, put down those chips and eat the vegetables if that felt aligned for you. What would somebody who runs a 6, 7, 8-figure business be doing right now, whatever your goal is? Oh, they probably would be prospecting or networking with people. So instead of just being like, just focus on that long-term thing, you're bringing it back into the now. And what would somebody who has this goal, this thing that I want, be doing? And that's how all those little things really start to add up. And those habits, those are things that you can take control over to help you get those results. And again, I love my morning routine. Like for me, it doesn't feel like work. And what if you were able to take that and actually create these habits that you really love doing, or that you know that when you do them, those are going to be the things that really add up. And so admittedly, I still want to find a good nighttime routine. Message me and tell me if you have a good nighttime routine for you, but I'm still working on that. Also, though, give yourself permission to change it, right? So as you evolve, as things might change for you, you might need to reevaluate your routine. You might need to reevaluate what's working for you at this point in time and give yourself permission to change that. So what I want you to do is I want you to go and I want you to start actually examining your habits. What are the good habits that you want to keep doing, that you want to keep nurturing? What are some of those quote unquote bad habits that you want to change, and things that aren't getting you where you want to be? You keep saying every day like, oh, I need to stop doing that. What are those bad habits? Identify those and ask yourself, what do I need to do in order to actually put these new things into practice? And if I did that, and if by doing so, what could be possible? Is get yourself excited about this. So I'm actually going to do this myself. I'm going to revisit my own habits and which ones are serving me right now and which ones aren't. And if you decide to check out any of these books on habits, I would absolutely love to hear what you think and also what you're putting into practice. All right, see you next time.